Hi guys, Mr. Brady here, and I've got a quick video for you today about similes, okay? This for 3 and 4 to help with their learning. But really, if anyone else is struggling a little bit with us what similes are, use this to help you. Now, I'm using my boards. You may not see the words too clearly, but I will talk through what I'm doing if you're a bit unsure. Okay then, so similes are when you compare two things to each other. You're saying something is similar to something else. And it's that word similar that makes the word, where the word simile comes from. And there's two ways of doing it. The key words are like and as. And I've put times 2. You'll see what I mean in a second. So I've got a couple of examples here. So we've got the dog ran as fast as a race car. Now the message we're trying to get across here is that the dog is really fast. It's really quick. So we want to compare it to something that's also fast. So I've chosen here a race car. A race car is quick, so I can compare it to the dog. And I'm using as fast as, and you can see I've got 2 as's there. Now if the message I want to get across was that the dog was slow, that wouldn't quite work. I have to use something else. But in this case, the dog is quick, so I'm comparing it to a race car. That works fine. And my second example, the children were sleeping like a log. Now in this case, the message I want to get across is that the children are very peaceful, in a deep sleep, they're not moving very much. Okay, that whole peaceful element. So I've got to think, what is there that doesn't move very much, it's quite peaceful? Oh, a log. So if you think about a log in the woods, just sits there, doesn't move very much. So that works comparing to children. I said they were sleeping like a log. So I'm word like there. Again, if the sleep wasn't very peaceful, lots of moving around, this wouldn't work. But the meaning I want to get is that children were peaceful and sleeping and not really moving. So this one works here. Okay, so in a moment we're going to go through a couple of examples you could use in your writing. But I want to talk through those 2 golden rules we have to remember and why my 2 down here don't work. So, rule number 1, your simile has to make sense. And rule number 2, it has to get across the meaning you want it to. Let's have a look at these ones. So, we'll talk about the flowers, because they're by your house, we want to talk about those. The flowers were as tall as a skyscraper. So I've got as tall as there. They were as tall as a skyscraper. So 1, does it make sense? Well, really, no. If you think about a house with the flowers outside it, they're not going to be as tall as a skyscraper. Skyscraper is a really tall building. They're not going to be that big. So that one doesn't make sense. So I cannot include that. That's failed number 1. It doesn't make sense. Number 2, does it get across the mood I want it to, or the meaning? Well, not really. It's talking about how tall the flowers are. That doesn't really present a really pleasant, nice house. So it's got tall flowers. So it doesn't work for either of them. But the main issue there, it doesn't make sense. They're not that tall, it doesn't work. So, let's look at the second one. The flowers were brightly coloured like a pizza. So I've got the word like in there. So let's go through my 2 rules. 1, does it make sense? Well, to be honest, it sort of does make sense. A pizza's got some bright colours. Normally red, yellow, green peppers maybe. It's got a few bright colours. So does it make sense? Yes. Does it get across the meaning or the mood I want it to? Well, not really. Because I'm trying to say this house is fantastic. It's really nice. You want to go there. It's brilliant. It's nicely coloured like a pizza. Now, don't get me wrong. I love pizza. I'm sure you guys do too. But when you're thinking of something really pleasant and amazing and great to see, you don't want to compare it to a pizza. A pizza's a bit ordinary. So even though it makes sense, it doesn't get across the meaning we want it to. So that one can't work either. So I've got 1 there that doesn't make any sense, and I've got 1 there that makes sense, but it doesn't get across the message I want it to. I want to say how amazing and nice this house is, and how great the flowers are, and ultimately I'm comparing them to a pizza, which isn't really great and nice and pleasant. So, let's have a look now. You've got some examples on your worksheet to use. I'm going to focus on the flowers one. So I'm going to stick with the flowers were brightly coloured. The flowers were brightly coloured, because that star bit is fine. Talking about how brightly coloured the flowers are, absolutely. The flowers were brightly coloured like, and I've got to think of something that's brightly coloured, but also gets across the message of something really great and nice to look at. So, if we go with, let's have a look, because we had in your one, an artist's paint box. Okay? An artist's paint box. Now that one absolutely works. First of all, does it make sense? Well, yes, an artist's paint box will have lots of bright colours. Does it get across the message of being nice and really good to see? Absolutely. All these different bright colours being ready to use, that absolutely gets the meaning I want to the message. So that one works. I could also have brightly coloured like a rainbow would also work. Again, is it brightly coloured? Yes, it makes sense. Does it get across the message? Well, a rainbow is commonly something really nice to look at, something really pleasant. A lot of people, when they see it in the sky, it makes them feel happy. So again, that gets across the message that we want to. Okay? So I've got two examples there that do make sense and get across that positive message. So, you've got a few examples on your sheets. Think about what there is in the house. Is the trees, the flowers? Is there a nice bench outside? Is the fence going around it? Think about what else is there. And when you do your similes, think, do they make sense? The house is not as tall as a skyscraper, okay? Does it make sense? And also, does it get across that positive message of how nice the house is? Okay? So give it a go with your similes. Remember the two rules. Does it make sense? Does it make a positive message? And I'm looking forward to seeing some great similes. Cheers, guys.